Greetings. My name is Letitia Hensley, and I'm the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools Director of Family and Community Engagement. We are excited that you are joining us today and know you will gain great insight from this session. At the conclusion of today's session, please provide feedback so that we can continue to support you with amazing sessions that will be provided throughout the year. Now, without further ado, we'll turn it over to our presenters.
Good afternoon, CMS families. We are so glad that you are here today. Thank you for choosing the Family Academy Back to School Series, Attendance Matters, an Organization for Success. Please take a moment to sign into today's session. The sign in is within the Q&A and displayed on the screen. We are so glad you are here today. If you need translation support on today's call, please select Captions in the top right-hand corner. From there, you'll select Show Live Captions, and then select the language from the drop-down of your choosing. Once again, if you need translation support, please select Captions in the top right-hand corner of your screen, Show Live Captions, and from there, please select the language of your choosing from the drop-down. And we want to make sure that today's session is meeting your needs and answering your questions. Please engage with us today using our Q&A feature. On the top right hand of your screen, you'll see that Q&A button. When you select Q&A, you'll be prompted with a text box to ask any questions you might have for our presenters on the call. And we love to engage with you. Please note the react button where you'll be able to send a thumbs up, a clap, a heart. So feel free to send some of that engagement today as we continue through our call and engage with our fabulous presenters. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Kembry Farrow, from our school social work program, who's a specialist within our student wellness and academic support department, who will be sharing about the importance of attendance during our Attendance Matters session.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I wanted to start off just with kind of getting a sense of what you all already know as CMS families about attendance. So pop quiz, surprise. We're going to go ahead and get started with our first question. I will read it off, and I want you to find your react button and give me a thumbs up if you think it's true. Give me the surprised face, the face with the wide eyes and wide mouth if you think that it is false. Okay, so again, thumbs up if you think it's true, and the wide eyes reaction if you think that it is false. So that first question, starting as early as pre-kindergarten, poor attendance habits can cause children to fall behind in school. So I want to see those thumbs up if you think it is true, and the surprised face if you think that is false. All right, I'm seeing those thumbs up. All right, let's reveal that answer. That's correct. You guys are correct. That's true. Poor attendance habits can be linked to poor academic performance, even starting as early as pre-kindergarten. That second question, missing only 2 days per month during the school year will likely have no impact on a student's academic performance. Again, missing only 2 days per month during the school year will likely have no impact on a student's academic performance. So you're going to give me a thumbs up if you think that's true, and that surprised face reaction if you think it is false. All right, I see that surprised face. That's awesome. Thank you guys for those reactions coming in. Okay, we can click through to the answer. You guys got it. You guys are experts already on these questions. So that is false. Students who miss 2 days or more of school per month are considered chronically absent. And we will talk a little bit more about exactly what that means to be chronically absent in just a few minutes. The third question, chronic absenteeism is an indicator that a student may not be able to read proficiently by the end of third grade, may perform well below grade level in middle school, and eventually drop out in high school. So if that student is missing those 2 days or more of school per month, do you think that is true? That they might not be able to read proficiently, they'll perform below grade level in middle school, and they'll eventually drop out of high school? Now we can click through to that answer. That's right. That's true. Research shows that students who are chronically absent are more likely to experience poor educational outcomes. Okay, so I wanted to also talk about some CMS specific data that we see. So in a given school year, in grades K through 12, ninth grade typically has the highest number of absences that we see. Thumbs up if you think that it's ninth grade, typically that has the highest number of absences in a given year. That surprised face if you think that it is a different grade level. I saw one thumbs up, so somebody thinks it's ninth grade, another thumbs up for ninth grade. Right, we can click through. That is false. Kindergarten students typically make up the largest group of students with absences in a given year. That's correct. And then the last question, attendance improves when schools engage students and parents in positive ways. Thumbs up if you think that's true. And that surprised face if you think that is false. Awesome. Yep, so that's true. Our goal is, of course, to partner with students and families on a consistent basis in order to support positive school attendance district-wide. So thank you for engaging in this little pop quiz. It's just some information to get us started this morning. So what are the basics? We want you as families to just understand that attending school every day makes a difference. So regular school attendance is crucial for academic success. Here in North Carolina, the compulsory attendance law requires that students who are between the ages of 7 and 16 attend school. So that doesn't mean if your child is below the age of 7, if they are enrolled in school, that doesn't mean that school is optional. If they're enrolled in school, we expect the parent to make sure that that child is attending school every day. So that goes for our kindergarten and first grade students. Even if they are under the age of 7 and the parent has chosen to enroll them in school, the expectation is that they are in school every day. And that we will get into excused absences in a moment also. And then if students are over the age of 16, the same thing. If the parent's expectation is that that student is attending school, then we'll offer supports for those teenagers who are experiencing attendance challenges. Here in CMS, we define the full day as being present for at least half of the school day. Excused absences, according to our board policy, fall under the various reasons that you see here. So that would be illness or injury, medical appointments, death in the student's immediate family, religious observances, court proceedings, quarantine, educational opportunities with prior approval from the principal, local school board policy, which are certain circumstances that are approved by the school board, and then childcare for the student's child, and then an absence related to deployment activities. So even if your child is going to be absent for a reason that does not fall under these guidelines, we ask that you do communicate with the school, but do know that we are not able to excuse those absences. And so parents must provide notice to the school in order for absences due to the reasons above to be excused. So you would want to communicate with your school staff. That could be someone in the front office or your school's counselor or social worker to determine their policy on the type of communication that they accept to excuse absences. So some of the attendance practices that you might see throughout the district are the schools do track both excused and unexcused absences. After 3 unexcused absences, there is a letter that's generated by our system that is mailed out by the school. And that's a way to notify a parent of the absence. You might also receive a phone call or a message through Parent Square, email, or a text message from the teacher. After 6 unexcused absences, the school may schedule a parent conference, and that could be led by a member of the student services team, such as the counselor or the social worker. And then a second letter is generated from our system and mailed to the student's home. And then after 10 unexcused absences, the school team may reach out to you to schedule what we call an attendance review conference. And that's a meeting where a member of the admin team is involved, the school counselor or social worker, and the teacher. They come together with you as the parent and the student to talk about what challenges you might be experiencing. And then our last resort, the step that we try to avoid when students accumulate unexcused absences, are referrals for truancy mediation and truancy court support. But I do want to stress that a lot of effort is made to engage with families to mitigate any barriers that they're experiencing before reaching that point. It's important to know that your students' attendance might impact their course credit in grades 9 through 12. Thank you. You can go to the next slide. And so you've heard me talk about chronic absenteeism, truancy, excused versus unexcused. So I wanted to just make sure I am clarifying those terms. So truancy relates to unexcused absences. And if a student accumulates more than 10 unexcused absences, that's when we may consider court involvement. Again, I say we may consider. That doesn't mean, depending on your family's circumstances and the communication that you are having with the school, that doesn't mean it's an automatic referral to court. So truancy is based on unexcused absences only. When we think about chronic absenteeism, that includes the total number of excused and unexcused absences. And so we know that research has shown, regardless of the reason for the absences, a student who misses a large amount of school is impacted. And so we will also work with you as a school to address any barriers or challenges your child is experiencing that may result in excused absences as well, to make sure that your student has the support that they need to succeed in school. All right, so we know we can't do this without your help as parents. So some suggestions that you might want to consider as we begin the school year is scheduling those medical appointments outside of school hours when possible. If it's not possible to schedule them outside of school hours, then consider the time of day that would be appropriate so that your child can attend school at least half of that day, so they can be counted present for that day. And then if your child has to be late to school or picked up early, make sure you're providing documentation from the medical provider for your appointment. You want to maintain consistent bedtime routines, prepare for school the night before, and have a backup plan for transportation. I know for me as a parent, mornings can be hectic. So preparing in advance as much as you can help reduce some of that stress of having to be out of the house by a certain time in the mornings. If you do anticipate absences, make sure you're communicating with the school consistently. And then I would encourage you to create your CMS parent portal and Infinite Campus. That's new to us this year, but if you've not done that already, that is a way that you as a parent can access your child's attendance and monitor it. I also know as a parent that sometimes absences can creep up on us. So being able to regularly monitor your students' attendance can help you stay ahead of any absences. And then you want to reach out to teachers or your counselor if your child shows anxiety about school. Sometimes feelings of anxiousness can appear as physical concerns. So if you have a student who is complaining about a stomach ache a lot or a headache a lot, or you think that they're sick or they're saying that they're sick, but there's um, no no chronic condition, then you might want to talk about anxiety or something at school that might be causing those physical feelings. And then encourage positive feelings about school. So when you are talking with your child, help them to become excited about going to school and engaging in the learning and with their peers. And we wanted to provide you with some resources. So first and foremost, it's important to know, when is my child supposed to be in school? So the academic calendar is linked here in this presentation, and that that will show you which days are teacher work days, which days are our early release days. And I wanted to point out the early release days so you can go ahead and get a jump on planning for childcare or transportation arrangements if needed. We want your children to be in school on those early release days. Even though it is a condensed day, they still access all of their instructional content each day. And then your child's teachers, student services team, other school staff, they're going to be your biggest advocates in helping to make sure your child is successful during the school year. Again, make sure that you have access to that parent portal and Infinite Campus. Our school teams have partnerships with various organizations throughout the community. So if there are specific needs, like housing needs, food needs, needs with clothing, your school team can connect you with community organizations to meet those needs. Our Department of Family and Community Engagement has created an amazing family resource website. So I would encourage you all to check out the resources listed there. And then for our parents who need support for our younger kids, I would encourage you to check out our before and after school care programs. And then also, as always, translation services are available for our multilingual families who need that additional support to help communicate with your school-based staff. So ultimately, we're all here for the same goal, and it is to make sure our students are here today and ready for tomorrow, regardless of what grade you are in. We want you to be present in school every day that you can so that so that you are ready for what lies beyond graduation.
Thank you so much for sharing such valuable information regarding the importance of attendance and the impact on our students' learning. At this time, we're going to transition to our second topic of the day. Now that our students are in school in attendance with us, let's review some best practices for organizing for success with our CMS Advanced Studies Specialist and AVID District Director, Ms. Elizabeth Jordan.
Good afternoon. So we are going to talk about some practical tips and strategies for helping your student become more organized and improve their academic performance. So understanding the importance of organization. We know that our students sometimes can get really stressed when it comes to school. Parents may also get stressed when it comes to school. And how do we do all of these things? So organization can reduce that stress. It can also improve that time management when you're looking at homework time or projects that may come up, or just trying to keep your child organized when they are in the classroom. It enhances their focus and concentration. If they know where their things are, if they know when they're supposed to be in a particular place, or how they're supposed to go about things, then they tend to be able to focus a little bit more and concentrate on what's important, which is their academics. And then lastly, it boosts their confidence. Students who are confident are successful in school, and they are able to continue on with all of the needs all of the things that they may have. They may participate a little bit more. Just like with attendance, that confidence booster can help them overall in school. And then why is learning to organize so important? So when we think about our students, your children, students who organize, they can self-direct, self-evaluate. They can start to look at monitoring their own goals and what they want to do in school. They can use their own tools. Organization has to be taught, so they're able to actually practice utilizing those resources in their time. They'll have processes and procedures, just like you have a process and procedure for certain things that you may do at home. This will help them to study a little bit more effectively. And then it also helps them prepare for rigorous courses and engaging fully in instruction. So this goes K-12. Once they start to get these habits down, they're able to actually see academic success and they can reach for higher heights academically. So we're going to talk about 3 types of organization: time, thoughts, and materials. So just think about your child, your student. How do they organize their time? How do they organize their thoughts? And how do they organize their materials? When we think about time organization, please just give me a reaction, a thumbs up if you know that your student sometimes doesn't know how to organize their time. If they are always asking you, when am I supposed to be there? Or if your student just needs a little help there. All right, I see a few thumbs. Thank you, thank you. So thinking about your time organization, as adults, we tend to need help with organizing our time as well. So organizing our time helps our students make sense of that information. They can apply specific strategies and monitor their outcomes. It helps them take control of their learning. A lot of students utilize an agenda or a planner. Agendas and planners can be used with students, I'll say from 2nd to 12th grade. That doesn't mean that a student in pre-K or kindergarten couldn't learn how to organize their time. Just the agendas and the planners might be utilized a little differently with how they use their time. And then just practicing time management. If they know that doing a certain task takes an hour, then how can they plan their time out efficiently? So thinking about that time organization is very important for our students. And if you've purchased a planner or an agenda for your student and you have them write down their homework, their assignments that they have each day in school, it helps them to understand how long it's going to take to do things. Some things may take longer than others. Certain projects may take a little bit longer as well. So time organization is something that you want to make sure that your student has a great handle on. Thought organization. How does your student organize themselves to get all of the information? So this one has to be what we call implicitly taught. So thinking about, how do they write things down? How do we know how their brain works? How are they letting you know what they do? Our students, some of them like to write, some of them like to draw, some of them like to make videos. How are we getting out their thoughts, helping them get out their thoughts for anything? So when we think about that, they can apply specific strategies to monitor their outcomes, thinking about focused note taking. So focused note taking being a format of taking notes that has certain processes and parts to it. And then utilizing a graphic organizer. Do they use a thinking map? Do they use a Venn diagram? How are they utilizing all of their graphic organizers that they may be given? Do they write reflections on their learning, a summary, to let you know, hey, this is what I learned today? Do they do that out loud when they come home from school? Do you ask them to kind of reflect on their day by saying, what did you do today, rather than just, how was school today? Because they may come home and just say good, but that reflection, that summary, what did you do today? What made your day great? What made your day so? Actually having them reflect on what it was they did at school. That helps with their thought organization. And lastly, material organization. This is something that most of us see all the time with material organization, where students may have their book bags, their binders, their notebooks, all of the things that they need, their supplies for school. So that's one of the beginnings of that organizational system. And if they use these systems and develop them over time, it helps them to improve in their academics. And it also translates to college and career readiness. If they know where their things are, that takes up less time in the classroom. So, do they have a binder? An e-binder? An e-binder would be something that's virtual that might be on a computer. Do they have a file structure, whether it be a physical file structure where they might be using folders, or they may use something on a Google Drive or in a Microsoft Office folder? Do they also use a physical or a digital notebook? So some of our schools allow our students to use a digital notebook to keep up with all of their things. Are they using that? Are they using an interactive notebook in their classes to keep up with all of the things that teachers may give them throughout the day, such as the thought organization information for notes, or if they're gluing papers in, how do they keep up with their materials? So just some practical tips as we are thinking about helping our students to organize. Make sure you keep a dedicated study space for your student. This emphasizes the importance of quiet, and then making it a well-lit space for homework, for studying, for processing their thinking about school. Establishing a routine. How are you making organization a routine, whether it be routine about their time management, routine about their thought management, or routine about how when they get their materials together? Is that on Sunday night before school begins, or on Friday evening after the week is ended? Are they cleaning out their book bag? Are they putting things away and reprocessing what they've already gone over for the week? Are they using certain organizational tools like planners, calendars, or if they are an older student, a digital app on their phone? All of those can help students to stay on track and on task with with all of their academics. Set realistic expectations. Thinking about organizing and setting goals, that helps them to actually go through and break some things down, so that you're not telling them all the things they need to do at one time, but maybe giving them a small task. Maybe weeks 1 and 2, keeping your book bag organized, keeping your folders together. Maybe weeks 3 and 4, making sure their planner has been completed with all of the dates of academic things they have to submit. And then going so forth and so forth, so on and so forth, with setting those expectations and breaking those goals down. And then encourage them to be a self advocate. Do they ask for help? Do they know how to manage their time effectively? And if they don't know how to manage their time, how are you teaching them how to manage their time and prioritize their task and what's most important?
Thank you to Miss Jordan and to Miss Farrow for providing such wonderful information to ensure that our students and our families understand the expectations of attendance and how to best organize and support those processes as the school year begins. Families, if there are any questions that you have for our two specialists, please include them within the Q&A section. Within the Q&A, you'll also find the link to today's Family Academy sign-in session, bit.ly/Family Academy sign-in. Please make sure that you've provided a sign-in so that we can make sure that you stay in the loop of all future upcoming Family Academy sessions. We also value your feedback and have a feedback link included in the Q&A as well. We have one question in the Q&A at this time. If we're unsure about the status of our students' attendance and want to know what we need to do as a parent moving forward, who should we reach out to at the school?
So you can start by reaching out to most schools have either a data manager or an attendance secretary. So you can start by reaching out to that person in your school's office.
Thank you. And we have one additional question. To support my student in being organized, there was a mention of planners in the session. Is there anything provided through the schools or any resources you would recommend for my child?
So that depends on your child's school. A lot of schools still have a planner that they may suggest. So I would ask the school first. Their teacher may also have a planner that they suggest as well. It also depends on the age of your student. Planners can be a happy planner, so a name brand planner, or it could be a planner that comes from, um, I'll say the Dollar Tree that a student is able to just write some things down. It is up to you and your student how you want to do that. There are also planners that you can find actually free to download on the internet as well. So it depends on what your students' needs are, but I would begin at your child's school with how they have them plan and organize time. If you want them to still plan and organize their time in a particular way that their school doesn't, I would suggest you come up with a type of planner that meets the needs of your child as well as your family so that you are able to check in with them on a regular basis.
Thank you. Great support, great recommendations. The final question we have in the Q&A right now asks, for the 10 absences that were included in the attendance policy, is that per class?
For the purposes of truancy, that is a cumulative days. So 10 days of unexcused absences. We would start implementing interventions to support that student. However, I would say at the school level, the expectation would be that those individual teachers, if a student is missing that many days in a class, that those teachers and potentially the school student services team would be reaching out to see what support they could offer. But that doesn't necessarily mean we would start those truancy interventions if they are not cumulative days.
Thank you. Great answer. Great support. An additional question has come through the Q&A. Bus delays and the Here Comes the Bus app have caused issues before. Can you please provide any guidance regarding that impact on our students' attendance for transportation issues?
Sure. If a student is late to school based on CMS transportation, that is not held against them. So it's not recorded as a tardy if they are on a late bus arrival.
Thank you. Families, it appears that we've answered all of our questions within our Q&A at this time. If you have any additional questions for our presenters, please feel free to submit them through the feedback form, and we'll ensure that your question is answered and you receive follow-up. Thank you so much for being a part of our CMS community, and a special thank you to Ms. Kembry Farrow and Ms. Elizabeth Jordan for taking the time to share such valuable information. Families, we hope that you have a successful and safe start to your school year. Please let us know if there is any support you need. Have a wonderful afternoon.